I'm John Howard. In today's short video, I'm going to cover the topic of Warren Buffett and his lessons for the way to build your first 1 million. Everybody, I've been doing a lot of content lately on mostly real estate. And for me, I found real estate to be a very reliable and certainly kind of quietly I quietly developed a rental portfolio and, generate what is really basically above average, kind of an above average or a high corporate salary from really just a few rentals, on average per month. So I found it to be, really a wonderful wealth builder. And it kind of happened really over 2 decades of being an entrepreneur and launching 4 different businesses that all went up to 7 figures or more per year. But I do Warren Buffett because he's got great investing advice. And a lot of people, kind of wonder, well, how can they make their first real estate investment? Because they need capital. The reality is you don't really need that much capital for your first investment. And after your first real estate investment, you can then use equity from the other places to keep buying more, right? But anyway, so here is Warren Buffett's lesson on the road to your first 1 million. Warren Buffett made his first investment at just 11 years old and now has a net worth of over 140 billion. Here it is, the summer of 2025. Here are 4 lessons from him that can accelerate your journey to your first 1 million. And by the way, I've done some research, and according to Henley and Partners, there are only 6,041,600 liquid millionaires in the USA as of May 2025. This is approximately a little bit less than 1.7% of our 347 million or more population in the USA right now. So this $1 million achievement is, as you can see, very rare and special. I'm going to start this off with a quote, one of my favorite quotes from Warren Buffett. Should you find yourself in a chronically leaking boat, energy devoted to changing vessels is likely to be more productive than energy devoted to patching leaks. Warren Buffett. Number 1, become a learning machine. Buffett has never seen anyone become extremely successful without constantly upgrading their skills and knowledge. The goal isn't learning for learning's sake. It is to become one of the most skilled people in your career. Warren Buffett explains it perfectly. I constantly see people rise in life who were not the smartest, sometimes not even the most diligent, but they are learning machines. They go to bed every night a little wiser than they were when they got up. When you're the doctor, lawyer, plumber, or salesperson in your area, you can charge hundreds or thousands per hour, and clients will gladly pay it. Number 2, master the side hustle. Before becoming the world's greatest investor, Buffett was the king of side hustles. At 13, he bought a pinball machine for $25 and placed it in a barbershop. The deal? Customers pay a nickel to play while waiting for haircuts. And profits were split with the owner. First night, $4 in nickels. After 1 week, $25, enough for another machine. Eventually, he had pinball machines across Washington, D.C., and sold the business for $1,000, a 40% return. Here's the powerful math. If you're a teacher earning $50,000 and saving $5,000 annually, a $30,000 side business can increase your savings to $35,000, 7 times more. Your day job covers expenses. Your side hustle becomes pure savings fuel. Harness the magic of compound interest. Buffett's biography is titled Snowball. I've actually listened to the audiobook. Wow, it was long. Because he compares compound interest to rolling a snowball down a hill. It starts small, but becomes massive. The numbers don't lie. Save $25,000 a year in a bank account, and it takes 40 years to reach 1 million. Invest $25,000 a year at 10% returns, and you reach 1 million in just 17 years. You'd only deposit $425,000, but earn over $588,000 in investment returns. By year 17, you're earning nearly $90,000 annually from investment returns alone. As Buffett says, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He understands it, and he earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Number 4, avoid lifestyle inflation. Despite being worth over 140 billion, Buffett still lives in the same Omaha house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. You can't say that he doesn't have other houses. If you actually were to listen to his biography, Snowball, which I listened to on audiobook, he actually, bought a house in Laguna Beach, which I believe he still owns, years and years ago, I think back in the 70s. So he still, uses that house. But he earns just $100,000 as Berkshire Hathaway CEO. And full disclosure, here it is, summer of 2025. I mean, Warren Buffett in August is going to be 95 years old because he was born in 1930. And he is kind of stepping down. I believe it's actually at the end of this year. He's no longer going to be the CEO. But that is pretty amazing that here he is, 95, still the CEO. So, but still, he earns $100,000 as Berkshire Hathaway CEO. Most people increase spending as income grows. Bigger homes, luxury cars, fancier vacations. This is like running on a treadmill. You're moving faster, but not getting anywhere. Keep expenses flat as income rises. The bigger the gap between income and expenses, the more you save and invest, and the faster you hit that first million. Buffett's path to wealth isn't about complex strategies or getting lucky. It's about continuously improving your skills, creating multiple income streams, letting compound interest work for you, and living below your means. Your first 1 million isn't a dream. It's a mathematical certainty if you follow his principles consistently. So I've actually been researching Warren Buffett a lot and reading a lot of his stuff, and I'll continue to make content on it. I really like it. I enjoy it, right? But the thing is that I think what is interesting is the more that I read and I look at Warren Buffett's quotes, the more that I'm seeing that he just says things and it's just so simple to him. But at the end of the day, it's like, just because it comes easy to him, it doesn't mean that it's going to come easy to everybody else. And I think sometimes he doesn't understand that, very few people are going to be, nearly as good as him, right? The reason I say that is because, for me, I am talking a lot about real estate. I've actually, been even creating some like products on it. But the thing is that it's been valuable for me. I mean, I have properties in Southern California, so California is its own animal in the respect of that the property values are so high. So it's nice to have that equity. But outside of that, I still have very attractive, average monthly income, like, just from like literally two places I own. And there's a third place I have a partial interest in, but just the two places I own myself, the average monthly income is between $12,500 and $40,000, per month. And that's going back many, many years, right? So, even if the places go down, I don't really care because at the end of the day, I'm paying the mortgages down, right? And I have the equity, I'm getting tax write-offs. They should appreciate over time. And then, I can borrow from them if I need to, if I want to make more investments, which, I'm planning on doing as we speak. But for me, the compound interest that Warren talks about is really the magic of the compound interest of actually, the real estate property is growing in my case, right? In fact, I did another piece of content recently on the Robert Shiller's a Yale professor. There's the Case-Shiller Index, the U.S. National Home Price Index. If you actually look at it from 1995 to 2025, that's 30 years, and it did 309%. But the fact is that's just the home price, right? So if you bought an investment property, or if you actually moved into it, which is what I've done, you put 10% down, and then you move into it, and then after a year or two, whatever it is, year or 2 years, whatever, you move out, you turn it into a rental. That's actually 3,090% return. The stock index that's the closest to that was the NASDAQ at 2,111. So if you look at that as a real estate investment, that actually outperformed the NASDAQ over 30 years by 1,000%. So I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty compelling, especially considering you get 5 benefits. Actually, you get 6 benefits, but, really for every real estate investment, you get 5 benefits, which are, rental income and cash flow. You get appreciation. You get tax savings from depreciation and active income offset. You get amortization from paying the loans down, which is for savings. And then you also get the ability to borrow against the equity in the properties that you get. The last benefit is really just a single property benefit, which is you can move in, if you choose to move into the property when you retire, you can do that. Obviously, that's only one property though, right? People that are going to build a real estate empire are going to usually build more than one. And now with loans that are called DSCR loans, which stands for debt service coverage ratio, the funding of the loan is really just based on the rent. It's no longer based on your own finances. Now, you do have to have the credit. So if you think about it, you kind of have to, come up with the money for the first property that you do, and you got to have the credit, right? But anyway, I can go on and on about this. I mean, I like to share my real estate story because I like stocks as well, but stocks can be a little dangerous, especially if you factor margin in, which can be kind of, difficult to resist actually doing margin. But if you are someone that is interested in getting into real estate investing, I actually created just this thing called the SMTR Launch Kit. It stands for Short and Medium Term Rentals Launch Kit. I've done short and medium term rentals for like literally the last 2 decades. And as I mentioned, I mean, it pretty consistently generates me on average about $12,500 to about $40,000 per month. If you're interested in that, you can check it out. I also have my email address in the description area. It's a very basic, inexpensive, thing that I have there. I also have a newsletter, and then I also have, very basic and inexpensive email coaching that you can check out. So those links are in that description. If you, perhaps know somebody that wants to get into real estate investing, if maybe you're not interested, or maybe you're already an investor, you can forward them this video. And then, if you like the video, you like this content, you can give the video a like. You can also consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments below. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.